Why did the officer write you up as refusing the testing during a DUI investigation when you blew into the machine on the side of the road? This is a very common question because it can be very confusing. The officer can actually administer two different kinds of breath tests. What the officers love to use on the side of the road is called a portable breath test, and it is just one of the tools that they use in addition to field sobriety tests to get a basic understanding of whether or not they should place you under arrest. Now, although these handheld devices do tell the officer a formal number and give an estimate of what your blood alcohol content is, you will never hear that number admitted into court. That is not the formal breath test. And the reason it's not the formal breath test is that those handheld devices, although useful tools on the side of the road, are not reliable enough to be admitted as formal evidence against you. So the officer will rely on it to a certain extent, but it is not the formal breath test. It is something that the officer will administer while still deciding whether or not to arrest you. Once you've been arrested, the officer will read the implied consent card to you, and at that point, they will ask for the formal states test. We also call that chemical testing in Georgia. And the officer is entitled to ask you at that point, after you've been arrested, for a breath test, a blood test, or in rare instances, a urine test. They're always authorized to ask for a urine test, but it's pretty rare. And at that point, you can either refuse or submit. But when the officer writes you up as a refusal DUI in Georgia, what the officer is referring to is not that handheld portable device that you may have blown into on the side of the road, but rather the officer is referencing the refusal of the formal chemical test. And it is a test that he is only by law allowed to ask you for after you have been placed under arrest for DUI.